Okay, so Wizards of the Coast have released their official statement on D&D Beyond. It's really bad, but the way in which it's bad is really interesting, and it shows that Wizards are still completely tone deaf as to what people are really angry about. So we're gonna go through top to bottom and expose every time they lie and work out what they actually mean when they say things. Okay, when we initially covered the revising of the OGL, it was with 3 major goals in mind. First, we wanted the ability to prevent the use of D&D content from being included in hateful and discriminatory products. This is the first lie. This whole discriminatory content thing seems to be a smokescreen for the real malicious intent of this OGL. We all agree that discriminatory content is bad, and we don't want it in the game. But here's the thing, the old OGL actually covers this already. I'm gonna quote directly from the lawyer I've been working with, Noah, at my lawyer friend on Twitter. Quote, "Wizards can do more than just revoke the old OGL generally. They can revoke it specifically, meaning they can reach out to a particular creator specifically and say, your license under the OGL is revoked. They don't even have to give notice, they can just issue a DMCA. So legally, even with the existing OGL that everyone really likes, if you made discriminatory content, Wizards could go to you and revoke your personal license. They can say, this material is offensive, you can't make content anymore. This new OGL changes nothing about that. Second, we wanted to address those attempting to use D&D in Web3, blockchain games, and NFTs by making it clear that the OGL content is limited to tabletop role-playing content like campaigns, modules, and supplements. I've said this on Twitter a bunch of times, but Hasbro are in favor of all of these things. What they don't want is other people to earn money off them. Hasbro are literally selling, right now, Power Rangers NFTs. They are pro-NFT. And third, we wanted to ensure that the OGL is for the content creator, the homebrewer, the aspiring designer, our players, and the community. Not major corporations to use for their own commercial and promotional purpose. Again, Wizards, you are the major corporation here. Acting like Paizo and Kobold Press and MCDM aren't part of the D&D community just because you are jealous that they earn lots of money is not a good look for you. Driving these goals were 2 simple principles. Our job is to be good stewards of the game. Obviously, we know that's a lie. I've heard from countless WotC employees and leakers that the executives really do only care about the bottom line. They are not actually interested in the game or the community. And obviously, their actions on the OGL support this. This is another lie. And 2, the OGL exists for the benefit of the fans. Nothing about those principles has wavered for a second. The original OGL might exist for the benefit of the fans, but the new one definitely only exists to benefit Wizards of the Coast. That was why our early drafts of the new OGL included the provisions they did. Again, these were not drafts. The leaks we have seen are not drafts. They were a finished product. It was sent out to creators with a contract for them to sign. You don't send out contracts with a draft. That draft language, not a draft, was provided to content creators and publishers so their feedback could be considered before anything was finalized. Again, more bullshit. They intended to release this content to creators and give them 1 week to sign, otherwise their entire business license would be revoked. This isn't how you get feedback from creators, this is how you force creators to knuckle under. In addition to the language allowing us to address discriminatory and hateful conduct and clarifying the types of products the OGL covers, our drafts included royalty language designed to apply to large corporations attempting to use OGL content. It was never our intent to impact the vast majority of the community. So I've been told by a couple of different senior inside sources at WotC that the executives fucking hate that big companies like Kobold Press, MCDM, and yeah, even Critical Role make tons of money off D&D. They simply cannot stand it. This whole clause was there to hurt those companies out of jealousy and spite. However, it's clear from the reaction that we rolled a 1. It has become clear that it is no longer possible to fully achieve all 3 goals while staying true to our principles, so here's what we're doing. The next OGL will contain the provisions that allow us to protect and cultivate the inclusive enjoyment we are trying to build, and specify that it covers only content for TTRPGs. That means that other expressions such as educational and charitable campaigns, live streams, cosplay, VTT uses, etc. will remain unaffected by any OGL updates. So this is a weird choice. It's basically nonsense and it's designed to make you feel good. They're throwing around words like educational and charitable, but these were never in any doubt. No one was ever looking at the old OGL and thinking they're coming for the charities. No, they've not changed anything by saying we're leaving educational and charitable content alone. That was always the case. What they are changing is they seem to be letting VTT uses go. So they've given up on trying to control the virtual tabletop creators, at least for now. What it will not contain is any royalty structure. This is because Wizards know they will lose in court if they try to take some of Paizo's money. They gave it a good old try, but it turns out when you're trying to break the law, it's best to just back off when people call you on it. It will also not include the license-back provision that some people were afraid was a means for us to steal work. That thought never crossed our minds. Bullshit. Wizards, are you seriously trying to tell us that your billion-dollar company made this contract, looked over by some of the best lawyers in the world, and it never even occurred to anybody that the terms you were putting in let you steal other people's content? No fucking way. If the intention wasn't to let you steal other people's content, you wouldn't have hidden that clause behind really carefully chosen wording to distract people from what you were actually doing. They tried to sneak this theft by. They got caught, and the best defense they could come up with was, "Oops, sorry, we are so incompetent we didn't even realize that we were trying to steal." Under any new OGL, you will own the content you create. We won't. Again, there is a difference between you owning the content you create and you giving Wizards the rights to license and sell it. Just saying you own something doesn't actually mean very much. Any language we put down will be crystal clear and unequivocal on that point. That'll be it first. The license-back language was intended to protect us and our partners from creators who incorrectly allege that we steal their work simply because of coincidental similarities. As we continue to invest in the game that we love and move forward with partnerships in film, television, and digital games, that risk is simply too great to ignore. This bit is probably true. Wizards of the Coast need to be careful that anything they make isn't similar to something someone else made, or they could get sued. The new OGL will contain provisions to address that risk, but we will do it without a license back and without suggesting that we have rights to the content you create. Your ideas and imagination are what makes this game special, and that belongs to you. That's a really nice sentence. It's a shame it doesn't really mean anything. A couple of last thoughts. Firstly, we won't be able to release the new OGL today, because we need to make sure we get it right, but it is coming. I know you know this, but until we see the OGL, everything they say here means absolutely nothing. There's something in law called the four corners rule, which basically says if it's not within the four corners of the page that you sign, it doesn't have any bearing on the law at all. Anything they promise here means absolutely nothing until we see that OGL. This is just a desperate attempt to stop people from cancelling their D&D Beyond subscriptions. Second, you're going to hear people say that they won and we lost because making your voices heard forced us to change our plans. Those people will only be half right. They won, and so did we. No, Wizards, you didn't win. You never intended to listen to the community. You sent this through with NDAs, and you've lost hundreds of thousands of dollars overnight, and you've lost billions of dollars worth of public trust. This is not a win. But aside from just being cringy and pathetic, this statement is also really evil. They are trying to suggest that people like me will announce that we've won. But we haven't won. They're trying to say, look, it's over, you won. No, we didn't. We have not won until the original OGL is guaranteed. Until we hear that that OGL license is protected and the future content made by it will be protected and Wizards can't steal it and Wizards can't change their mind later, this is not won. Don't let this wording convince you that the fight is over. This is Wizards trying to get people to stop fighting. Our plan was always to solicit the input of our community before any update to the OGL. The drafts, not drafts, you've seen were attempting to do just that. Again, another lie, these drafts were sent out with NDAs, specifically to prevent creators from sharing it. I want to remind you that it's only because some content creators were brave enough to risk their entire livelihood to expose these documents that we know anything about it. They tried to sneak this by. They did not want an open discourse here. We want to always delight fans and create experiences together that everyone loves. We realize we did not do that this time, and we are sorry for that. Our goal was to get exactly the type of feedback on which provisions worked and which did not, which we ultimately got from you. Again, no it wasn't, they had a finished agreement and it got leaked and now they're in crisis control. Any change this major could only have been done well if we were willing to take feedback, no matter how it was provided, so we are. Again, reminder, they've only released this now because people have started cancelling on D&D Beyond. The only feedback Wizards understands is money. Thank you for caring enough to let us know what works and what doesn't. What you need and what scares you. I hate this bit. What scares you? It's a subtle attempt to make the community sound weak, like we're all running around terrified. We're not scared, we're angry. We're pissed off that you keep trying to exploit us. Without knowing that, we can't do our part to make the new GL match our principles. Finally, we'd appreciate the chance to make this right. We love D&D's devoted players. Wizards, we've heard from your own company, people who work there, that you really don't love us, you despise us, and you see as obstacles to your money. We love D&D's devoted players and the creators who take them on so many incredible adventures. Yeah, coming from the contacts I have inside Wizards of the Coast right now, if there's one group of people Wizards hate even more than the players, it's the creators like me. They fucking hate me right now. Finally, they say, we won't let you down, but they did. They did. So yeah, basically this document is dishonest at best and full of lies at worst. But more importantly, it means literally nothing until we actually see the OGL 2.0. Remember, if there is any clause in there that says they can change it later, everything they say means nothing. Remember to cancel your D&D Beyond subscription if you haven't already. It really is the only language these people understand. I've also been in direct contact with a senior inside source at Wizards of the Coast who has whistleblown this entire thing. That video will come soon, and this stuff goes way further back than the OGL. It exposes Wizards' entire plan. It is massive, but again, I have to be so careful to protect the people who are working at Wizards of the Coast and are sharing these leaks with us as they come out. But seriously, buckle up, because WotC's real plan for the OGL and the real story behind the D&D Beyond acquisition is wild. But yeah, thanks for watching, #OpenDND, and I'll see you next time.